Hi guys. We're here for the first episode of our new podcast called the Cheque In. With the check, because as Cashout Cavaliers, we love money. That's our main motivator in doing this venture. Like we don't love esports at all. Yeah, you guys are just here to make us rich. No. Just kidding.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, this is first installment of our podcast. We are the two co-founders of the Cashout Cavaliers. And I hope you guys enjoy our podcast today. We're first going to be starting about focusing on the IEM Katowice that just finished about half an hour ago, and our takes of the playoffs, talk a bit about FaZe Clan and why everyone is getting donked. Anton, as a almost first time viewer, like a new viewer at least to the professional Counter Strike scene, what did you think about the tournament?
I mean, it was a really. I think like in the beginning, like I didn't see any of I saw a lot of Faces matches in the playoffs, but I didn't see any of the Spirits matches. And it was very like weird because like when I saw like Faces matches, it like uh the games kind of made sense. It made sense why like FaZe would just like crush G2. Like it made sense as a new watcher, like how like the team executed the strategy correctly, and like why, like for example, G2 just lost a lot of one-on-one fights because of the positioning, and they didn't use the utility. But but the finals, like it was so weird because like I was like looking at the I was looking at Twitter, and I saw all the dunk memes, but I hadn't watched any of the games. So I was just like, oh, it's just like a player running hot in the tournament, right? That happens in every esport, all the time. But then you just go to the game, to Spirit, and like it's every single game he like 2v1s or 3v1s, or every single round, and like it's just so insane because like no matter how like it must be so tilting to be a IGL leader at FaZe like in the finals, because like no matter how big brain your strategies are, you might fucking like call in like Sun Tzu and just like give him the mic, and like you still won't be able to win like when you start a game like for free, or like 3-2. It was just insane. And yeah, I honestly like I think I really just like I think like he just looks like a monster. Like he will mess up Counter Strike, man. Like in the next few years. Yeah, it
Oh,
was crazy.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I don't think a lot of people get how good Donk is up until this point. He is dropping numbers no one has ever seen before. He just beat the world record for highest ever rating in Katowice. For someone that's gone that many maps. The only one to ever beat him, I believe, was Nico when he was back in Mousesports in 2015. But Nico only played one map and then was knocked out of the tournament, so you can't really compare that.
Mm.
Second-handedly, he also has the highest rating ever in S tier events, the highest rating for a rookie player ever. And the thing is, he's only 17 years old. He turned 17 2 weeks ago, which is completely crazy. This is his first S tier LAN, and he didn't drop a map, and he didn't have a single map where he had a below 1.2 rating. He
Oh.
64% of rounds he gets more than one kill. He has multi-kill rounds 64% of the time. It's almost impossible to shut down. And I think, especially for the finals, I think Carrigan, the IGL phase, I think he called a very good game, especially on Nuke and Mirage as well. I think he was up a lot of time. He was out rating at Chopper, also good AGL over Spirit side, but he isn't as experienced, especially on this type of level. Only been around for a while, so I think Kerrigan called a fantastic game, and he was out calling Chopper, and the FaZe players were in the right positions. They caught the right timings. But when you have this kid Donk just sitting there fragging down two players, three players through smokes, headshots, swinging uppers, hitting one taps, like he can't be stopped. And Donk is, well, obviously the star player of the team, but they also have Shiro, which is a fantastic opera, probably a top 5 opera in the world. They signed over from Cloud9. And another young dude, Sontex, only 18 years old, and even he is dropping decent numbers. And if Donk wasn't there, he would be a superstar player. So I think it's so hard. It's such a hard team to beat.
Yeah, like when you take say about smokes, like you know that one round where like when like the yeah, like FaZe just throws a smoke to go down. I don't know what like
So
to
go
go
down the
down to the
secret
basement and
angle
nuke.
on outside on nuke, yeah.
Yeah, and then like he just bursts down one, and then like 2 seconds later he bursts down a second one in the smoke. Like that's just insane because like normally like to be able to like read a game, I'm not only talking about Counter-Strike but like League or like chess or any game or sport, like to be able to read a game so accurately, it's like you need to be like you should often be like a veteran, like you have played like you're like 25, 26. That's that kind of, but he's like 17. Like normally like when I think like a 17th prodigy like Counter-Strike, I just think of like really fast mechanics, but like he has the sense as well.
Mhm.
And it's just, and also like I think like it really shows like the difference between like what like aptitude and talent is, because like I think like a lot of people just say like in competitive sports like, oh, this person is really talented, when in reality it's like in my personal view, like you can only call like the people who are like at the like absolute top talented, because like I don't think you can like recreate what he did today. Like even if you're like a top 10 player in the world, because that was just like an inspired performance.
Oh no,
Um,
it's the craziest thing anyone has ever seen. I think not just in CS. I think maybe in esports. Don't think this has ever happened before, especially not with an esports with this much time on its back. And there's been a few impressive rookies, especially recently. Of Modesty, obviously, that has been super famous because he joined Pro League at 14, and then he was signed to G2, and he won Katowice, and then he won Cologne last year, which is probably the best rookie season of all time. And his numbers were good, really good, and he was a very different player, but again, super talented. Then you had Bit before that, joining Navi, winning a major in his first year. But again, Modesty won those events next to Nico, one of the best riflers of all time. He's been one of the top players in the world for the last 10 years. And Bit, again, insane rookie. However, he won those titles next to Simple, the god of Counter-Strike and electronics. Still impressive performances, some of the best ever, but what Donk is doing, he's doing it with no legendary top riflers. He's not doing it with Simple or a Sivu. He's a Shiro, who's good. He's a really good opper, but he's no Simple. And he's no Nico, and he's putting up these numbers that even the best players in the world, even when people were thinking Sivu was the best to ever touch anything, he wasn't at his best even close to Donk's average right now. It is unbeatable.
yeah, it truly is. And, like the fact that like he's such he morphs the game around him. Like it's kind of, it feels like in some rounds that like Dunk is just more important than the bomb itself. Like it's, you kind of just forget like, oh, there's a timer, there's like some strategies going, but you're just like looking at Dunk, you're like, what is he gonna do? And it's, and like, and that's the fact, it makes like the other teammates' job so much more easier, um because it's because like, yeah, like for example Shiro, he can op like a lot more, he can focus on opping like one angle when he knows that like if Dunk has his back, like there will always win the fight like 2v1 every time. And it's just like, honestly, like if I was playing against against him, I would like ask for like referee checks like all the time, because like I remember like this like when I was like fencing when I was like 15, 16, like I would be like the one who would referee check, like asking for referee like every other second. Like, yeah, that like really like brought back memories of
Yeah.
that.
Uh, if I came up against Donk in an online game or a tournament, I would call him out for cheating instantaneously. Because the amount of stuff he hits through smokes and walls, and he always knows where you are, and he always hits the head, and he's pre-fires and like he just has a mind for game, especially when it comes to like that aggressive play, the entry fragging, the going in balls out kind of style. But it just works for him, and he doesn't miss. Nobody can shut him down. The only one that was close to him in rating in the tournament when it came to end rating was Rain. And again, Rain even being relevant in 2024 is insane. He's the greatest veteran player of all time. But in the finals, he completely fell flat after that first half. He was decent on Nuke, but after the first half on Mirage, it just fell off. He had 12 kills in the first half, and then I think he had 1 kill for the rest of the game. So just couldn't keep up
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
But Raw, the thing is, Donk, he runs in, he entries, he hits headshots, he does the miss. Donk is too good. I mean, it feels like we're boosting up Donk a lot
Like
there, but it's just so crazy.
yeah, no, but like it feels like it doesn't even feel like he's doing like one hack. Like it feels like he has like 4 or 5 scripts like running at the same time. Like
Yeah.
it's just unfair. Like honestly, like if you ever find the opportunity to sign him, bro, I will just like honestly like, just take all our fucking money, bro.
Yeah. But that's
It's,
that's a question that's arising. So somebody asked us on X or Twitter the other day, which is what if Spirit? Because Spirit is a very small org. They don't actually have a lot of economical backing. They don't have a lot of stuff. That's why when Shiro went over to Spirit from Cloud9, a lot of people were curious as to why it would go down with such like a low paycheck. But Spirit now they have Donk on a contract. But if they're going to sell Donk, how much could they get for him? Because Donk alone can win you a tournament. Just having one player. Like Mondesi was sold from Navi Junior for I believe $800,000, which was the like largest buyout that wasn't from an already top player. But again, Donk has now played for Spirit only for a few weeks, and he's already proved himself as being, I mean, incredible at the game. So how much could you like sell this player for? Because in theory you could get anything for him.
mm. Yeah, honestly, like I think like it's gotta be in like the mid five, like it can be like in the mid 5 millions even per year. Because it's just it's the thing is like yeah, Monse got like a really good contract at like 800 something thousand, but the thing is like the difference between and value between like an A level athlete and like an S plus tier athlete is just insane. Because like for example like uh, the reason the NBA is how big it is. It's because of Michael Jordan. It's not because of Pippen. Even though like Pippen is like really close to the ability Michael Jordan has, it's just because it's always the stars that like create the biggest revenue or like biggest revenue drivers in the scene, and it's also and like also if you go on Twitter, like uh Monse, like I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but Monse is getting like those crazy tweets about him during the match with Dunkets all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you ask like a random G2 fan when what they're thinking about when like they're watching G2 play a game against another orc, they think about Dunk. Like it's you ask what like every CS player like dreams about or like have nightmares about. It's Dunk. It's just like Dunk has just become Counter Strike this weekend, and honestly like I think honestly like if you are an org that wants to win and you don't focus on getting value like economic value out of them because like there are some orgs that like prioritize differently. I think honestly like you just give Donk like a blank checkbook and you say hey just write the number and we'll pay it for you because it's like faker level like it's like he just like if he comes out like this insane in 17 like it's like you can't expect him not to have like a 10+ year career in the space, especially now that like esports have matured and you have seen like professionals such as Faker that like are able to stay in the game so long. And then like I think probably like one of the big orgs will try to approach him for like a multi-year contract so that like he becomes like their player, their like franchise player. But we'll see. But I think like definitely like 2-3 million at least.
Yeah.
It's just that insane.
Oh,
What
yeah,
do you
yeah.
think?
No, I completely agree. Again, I think the difference between Donkey and Mondesi as well, because Mondesi was signed off a junior team that has never played in a top tournament ever. Um, but Donk has now actually proved himself on the big stage. He has won. Outside of the major, there are two events in Counter Strike that people are curious about if you win. It's Cologne and it's Katowice. These are like the stages of Counter Strike, and he has just won it as his first S tier event ever. It's like you can't put a number on that, and the numbers he's dropping, but he's been dropping this consistently for a while. I thought if there was one team that was going to shut him down, it would be FaZe Clan, just because of Carrigan's calling, Reigns being solid. They have Rops, Frozen. I think Donk is probably the best player in that server, but Rops, Frozen, and Brokey, I think, are all better than the next players on the opposite team. But it turns out it just doesn't matter, because when Donk or Rops 3 goes down, you're in a 4v2 anyways. It's hard to lose. But I actually started looking at Donk back in December, because he took the #1 spot on Face It as bug player, and then other pros like Blame F. He started analyzing his demos and said like, this guy is playing like crazy. I was like, okay, so I downloaded a few demos to like study how to get better at solo queuing, playing Face It, getting some more elo. And I looked at him, I was like, well, like, he plays like a genius. Like, the way he entries, the way he clears angles, the way he reads the game is real cool. But I thought, when looking at those demos, that he would never be good on the main stage because he was playing too aggressively. He was too cocky, too confident. And today's meta, that's so difficult because people's utility usage is too good. Their positioning is better. Comms are better than ever. But he's completely proved me wrong. It's super impressive how he is being able to. He plays the same way on Face It against random scrubs that he does against fucking FaZe Clan, one of the best teams in the world with some of the best players in the world. And it looks like he's just playing deathmatch. It looks like the whole time he's just warming up, waiting for when does the game start. It's incredible. And you also thought that FaZe Clan would probably take the finals today.
Yeah, because they looked really good. Like it's just like if you, I think like if you would like ask if you would look like at the semifinals, quarterfinals, you would just give like a textbook to a kid like how to play Counter-Strike. I think probably a few of their plays could be like just used in the textbook because like they have a very clean way of executing, and like they were not afraid to become scrappy and like to just get like really fast rounds. But it's just like it just didn't matter. Like it kind of just like I remember like the first map today, like Dunk was 14-1. He was 14-1. Like bro, like it's kind of like if I get 14-1 in like any game, bro, I'm thinking about going pro, man. It's like, and that's me just playing in randoms. Like he's fucking doing it on the main stage, and it's just, yeah, and it's also like, yeah, like the way he peaks, because like peaking is really scary because like you have to, in a lot of ways, it's a gamble, and you have to see, okay, where is the opponent, where should he be based on like his trends, his personal trends, like the meta, like his utility available and stuff, and somehow he's able somehow to always like calculate the right thing, and it's just like it's just crazy, and it's like his mouse is probably like max DPI, and like because sometimes he just like swings around like a robot. It's like he just sees you on the corner of the map, and he just like instantly just kills you, and it's just like, yeah, it's at this point it's like why even have a tournament at all? It's like, he's just gonna be so insane. But yeah, no, I honestly I became a big fan of him watching today, and it's just like I really hope that he will find an org, if it is Spirit or if it is another one, that really just focuses around him and cares about him, because there's been too many times that like prodigies in the game just end up disappearing because of bad management, like bad part on the esports org, and yeah, like I really hope he sticks around for 5 years, because like when you get like prodigies like him, the whole level of the league also goes up, because then it's like the whole game becomes around stopping him, and like new strategies are developed, and maybe and like also like even the game gets patched out to to a way where like other people can rival Donk in certain aspects. But yeah, I really hope he sticks around for a long time. And
So do I. A
Yeah.
lot of people were making jokes earlier this week as well. It came with a patch that reduced the latency on peaking, so peaker's advantage is isn't as overpowered. And
Mm.
people are like, "Oh yeah, Donk's finally getting nerfed. He can't just swing around it." And he still does. He just doesn't care. I don't think he read. Did he just not read the patch notes, or
Yeah.
he
He's
didn't
just
realize
playing on
latency
the
was? He
he's
just
just
still
playing on
swings.
the wrong patch.
Yeah, no, but as you said, I think it's very important. Because we have seen this before. I mean, famously, Kirby, when Astralis won the first major, Kirby was the major MP. He was just turned 18 years old, I believe. MVP of a major, and the org just didn't do a good enough job being on him, contacting him, and signing a new contract with him. And suddenly he just disappears for a few months and goes off, like he just completely disappears off because he was so young and he didn't really know what to do. And there's all these emotions and stuff going on within young top athletes, and it's a really hard job to do. People don't realize what much of a mental toll it takes on you, and if you don't have have a good system around you to kind of take care of you and make sure you still keep improving, that you keep playing, that you have somebody you can talk to about whatever. I mean, sports psychologists are being used all the time now in esports as well, which I think is a good thing. That's really kept a lot of young players going. But yeah, no, I see Donk. It's really cool because he could really raise the bar. I mean, famously, Valve has nerfed players before, like Kenias in 2015 when they came with the AWP updates that you can't that reduced the walking accuracy with the AWP, no walking speed with the AWP by like 80%, which did nerf Kenias. So I mean, we could see something like this from Donk, to get him off because at this point, I don't see anyone that can even challenge him in an aim duel at this point.
Yeah, also at this point, like he'll just like at this point, like just like straight up backban him just because like it's just not fair.
It's just like, yeah, so we found that he had the Steam account when he was 12, and that might have had cheats, so gotta go, man.
It's like a completely unrelated thing. Like he just downloaded like an illegal Skyrim mod or some shit like that, and they're just
back.
like no.
Nope, no majors.
Yeah.
Sorry, can't do it. But I think Rops is really crazy. Rops on FaZe Clan, and he's been super solid throughout, especially in CS2. I think he was the best player in CS2 up until this point. Because he has dominated every time he touches the game, he's just crazy good. The only one that rivaled him was Sivu, but I thought Sivu was way too inconsistent generally. But now Dog just coming in like this, I just hope he can keep up the level. Because I would love to see him coming up to the major now in Copenhagen, and then even after the summer in Cologne, I would love to see him continue performing at this level, because that would just be crazy. I think I might have to get a Spirit jersey.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, it's yeah. I also really hope that it's not like a one and done, because it's just it's just so crazy, and like I don't want to have like 10 years of dominance where it's only him, but I'd like at least a solid like 2 or 3. I think I think he deserves it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there are a few orgs that could be interested in signing him. I mean, Cloud9, they have their lineup for that's a Russian-based lineup. But even Navi, I mean, the Russian powerhouse, I think they're gonna want to start rebuilding soon because their new gambles with the mixed stacks haven't been working. So, and they actually do have the money for it too.
Yeah, and I'm half Russian, so like
you actually claim Donk.
yeah. It's like he's like an agent from the motherland.
Let's go back.
Yeah, let's not get too political. Like,
Anyways,
like, oh no, yeah.
But what I also wanted to touch upon is Rain. The boy from Norway, from Stavanger, that is now played for FaZe Clan since FaZe Clan was created back in the 1st of January in 2016. And again, he has never been kicked from any org. He has always been in the same lineup technically, because even before 2016 he was in the Kickman G2 lineup that was bought by FaZe Clan, and before that he was in the London Conspiracy. So he's just go directly from one lineup to another, and he's just stayed there the whole time. Purchased by FaZe, and he's still there. He hasn't had a single day off. The only tournament he's ever missed was Katowice last year. Katowice 2 years ago, because he had COVID during the main stage, so he was replaced by Standon. But aside of that, you gotta remember, FaZe was, I think Rain was is one of the best riflers in the world, especially was at one point. Now I don't think he's active, but his prime was 2017, 2018. I mean, we're talking 5 years ago, half a decade ago, more than half a decade ago, and he's still performing at the top level. I think he fell off in the finals, of course, but outside of that, he had like a 1.4 rating throughout the whole tournament. I mean, he's 30 years old. He's married. He has a kid. There's no other player his age or that's been competing at the very top level as he has for 10 years now, and he's still dropping top frags, and he's still getting out fragging all of these youngsters, which I think is super impressive.
Yeah, that's like absolutely crazy as well. It's honestly like it's like it's like I remember like I started to have like mechanical issues when I was like 22, and like there's this guy that like at 30, like and like it's also I'm also really glad that like uh the the contract or like the player life or like the life of a professional esports player has increased
Yeah.
like drastically compared to before because like before it was like if you were over 25 years old you were basically done. It's over. Like you can be a coach, you can be like
An
you can be a
analyst,
coach, you can be an
caster.
analyst,
Yeah,
caster.
lots
It's
of.
just like the path to pro wasn't there.
No.
And I think like it's partly because of like how esport was such like a disorganized scene back then, and also like part of like how like it just wasn't culturally accepted, even by the players themselves.
Yeah.
Where like it's for example like a lot of I think like a lot of players who like are pro were like, oh yeah, I'm just fooling around during my college years. I'm just having like a 2-3 gap year where like I don't really focus about anything but the game. But then yeah, like you start getting like external pressure from like family or like from financial stuff
Oh yeah.
and from the world, and it's like and then you're like, oh, you're 24, you don't study, you don't work, like you play this counter attack game like
Striking counter, so I've never played.
yeah.
Yeah. No, so you also saw a lot of people around that age. It was because you're never getting into like relationships or getting married and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, it's time to grow up now," kind of thing. Because they're the people did look at it as a serious career, and I think the professionality of the scene has helped a lot with that. But also like now there's a lot of because the gamers used to either be skinny fuckers that were like sitting inside in the dark getting pale all day, or it was like super obese dudes that were just chomping down on fast food in their like gaming houses and stuff. But that's like 15 years ago, right? But now I think there's a big focus on health, being healthy, kind of working out, having a balanced life, and instead of esports being like just gamers sitting in gaming 24 hours a day, it's now taken to the same level that professional sports is done at, where you have like specific training sessions and you do things in between. You got to keep your body healthy because if your body is healthy, you can perform better in the game. And I think all of the having a much more balanced lifestyle now, especially esports or top esports orgs are forcing their players to seek out that kind of balance in life to get to get more longevity from all of their players. Because before I think when I first like took a step into trying to play on like esports scenes and stuff, I was like 16. And at the time, like most pros were like 20, 21 to like 26. That was like the range. But now we see top pros all the way down to you have Donk at 17, and people get signed by 60 now. But you also have people on that are 30 and 32 years old. They're like carrying up the old guard. So it's something that the perspective has changed a lot during only the last few years.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's also just because of I think it's also because of like the fact that it's a lot easier to become a pro, or like it's not easier, but it's like it's more accessible to people to become a pro in a computer game than in a physical game. Like for example, like if you take football for example, like in the theory it isn't a lot because the only thing you need is football, right, and shoes.
Yeah.
But then you like think about, okay, I need to find a club, I need to practice in the club, and that's like practice fees and membership fees and stuff. Then I need to travel to training camps and competitions and stuff, and what gaming does, it's like eliminates a huge portion of that. So like a
Yeah.
lot of really young talent can't just become, yeah, you can have like a 12-year-old just being rank one of aces,
Hmm.
and it's in a way it's like it's both, it's so fair that it can be like it can feel really unfair because it's very by the numbers, and it's just like there's so many people just slamming their head against the wall and trying to become pro or semi-pro,
Hmm.
and they just can't get in because of um, where they would have maybe gone in, like for example, they would have maybe been like a national third division football player if
Hmm.
they were trying football instead,
Yeah.
because it's just the volume of talent that comes in is just so insane that
Yeah.
like it's just you
Absolutely.
can't support enough pro players.
Yeah. At
But
one
yeah, I
point, it
also
is just
think,
a numbers game at that point.
mm, and yeah, I also think that like yeah, and it's also real nice that it's more socially acceptable to be an esport pro. Because I remember like when Corona hit, I was trying to be like a professional Magic the Gathering player, and like I remember people were just like, okay, what the fuck is this? But now like I'm like, but already now I'm just like, okay, I'm the co-founder of an esports org, and people actually know what it is, and so which is really nice, and uh, and it's just like with like the bigger viewership and stuff, and it shows just like that even though even though esports has suffered a lot in the last few years due to results of poor investments and mismanagement of the resources, like it's still as a core is really interesting, and like still people want to watch it, and it's just like, and I think that it's now a responsibility for all the org players, org owners, and all the leagues and stuff to try and understand, to try to put an effort and understand like how we can capture the value so that we may grow even further, so that like we can have like in football like professional players at 40 or rookies or professional or superstars at 16, because that is just like the yeah, we're still not quite there yet, but yeah, I really
Yeah.
hope that we can move in that direction.
Yeah, and
um,
I definitely think we will at some point, because as you can see, the esports again 15 years ago was not even recognizable. I mean, the biggest tournaments back then was like $10,000 prize pool divided on 8 teams, and that was like crazy numbers. Today we're talking about like $1 million, $500,000, and that's like for a tournament. And these are tournaments that are every 2 weeks in every top esports. It is the fastest growing like professional scene of anything, well, in history, really. And I think it will continue growing faster. And I think 10 years from now, esports will be again unrecognizable to the point where it is now. Where I think it'll go be even more professional. I mean, you can see lots of countries are starting to have universities that have esports scenes. I mean, Denmark now, I believe every high school in Denmark, more or less, have a like a pro esports team that are now competing in League and in Counter Strike and a few others. So we're seeing a lot more done to not just promote physical sports, but also promote esports as like an alternative, as like a hobby or something. It's not seen as a stigma or a straight negative like it was back in the day, right? And I think that development is going to be really really important.
mm, yeah, but like but one thing I really do hope that will change um, is that investors will stop looking at esports as a hedge,
Mhm. Yeah,
and more to actually like think of it as a bringer of value, or
yeah,
like an investment to grow a value. Because like I feel like, for example, in when League of Legends franchised in I think 2016 or 17, I
yeah.
don't
It's
remember the
around. It was
exact
around
year.
there.
Then like all the NBA sport franchises just started like buying up teams, just because they wanted to just mitigate risk, right?
Yeah,
So that like, oh, if League of Legends will eat up NBA ownership, then we will profit anyways. And it's just annoying because like it's just been like so much venture capital that has come in for the wrong reasons, and from people that are not passionate about the game, that are not passionate about the players, and it's just I really hope that I really hope that like last year's like pop of the bubble, and also this year, I hope that it will really like clean out the bad capital of the industry. Because for example, we had like uh, in the American LCS, there was like a lot of uh, there was like a lot of orgs were not the trying. There was like you had like the official league, and then you had like the academy league. And normally, like the academy league is used to create new talent and find new talent and experiment and
Yeah,
try to
it's like a
get
scouting
new.
league, right?
Mm, yeah, and the thing was that like none of the orgs were really interested. They were forced to field a team, but they weren't really interested in developing the talent. Um, and one part of it is that the player base of the American server is quite low. If you have like if European server was like 4 million active users per month, then the American was like 1.5. But it still had the problem of instead of putting new rookies in the challenger in the academy teams, they were putting old veterans who were kind of past their prime, and they were just like snoozing for a paycheck,
Yeah.
and it's just and like all of the money went towards player salaries when there wasn't any way to like defend it. Where, for example, you had like they were signing people from Korea, from Europe, for exorbitant amount of money, and then just they couldn't find any way to bring it back, and then yeah, in the end it collapsed, and the league had to do like a lot of changes to even like become relevant. And I just I hope that we're part of the new wave where we can actually try to improve the market conditions, and we can do esports because we love it and because it's also financially sustainable, and not choose one of the two.
Yeah.
But
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I would say I think we're quite in line there with our vision for esports because we want to create the best possible environment for players, for coaches, analysts, casters. We want to like create a sustainable economy for people to actually do this. So the people that are passionate about playing the games, being the esports athlete, can do it, and people that want to be casters and desk hosts, they can do that. Analysts can get jobs, and coaches can do it. So we can actually create an economy where everyone can thrive and do what they're passionate about, which is what they should be doing. Same way athletes can do in both sports. And esports is again the fastest growing professional entity ever. But it's when something grows this quickly, it is very easy for it to have a crash or a little downfall, like has happened in a lot of franchise leagues. That happened with League, and as all has happened with Valorant 2 years ago, and then again last year. And viewership on there is all down, and it's not. It turns out maybe it's not as sustainable as people thought, and a lot of people have put they put off university. They have not gotten jobs just to put all their team time and focus into creating something, doing something with no guarantees. But there are never any guarantees if you want to go pro in anything. But still, being able to create a world and an environment where it would be possible to go pro and continue doing this and continue getting viewership and make it easier for the younger players, newer talents to get their names out there, keeping the older players on to keep a stable basis so the level doesn't drop, it keeps increasing. It's a very it needs to be a very specific balance between a lot of things, but that's really what we are looking at creating with the project we've started here.
And yeah, speaking of the project, like it's been pretty crazy. Like I did not expect you to talk to you like this 3 weeks ago. Like yeah, why don't you tell about how like this all
Yeah,
started?
so we can go a bit into the Cashout Cavaliers, about to be the best gaming org in Norway and then beyond. Me and Anton, we are old friends from we used to do professional sports together. And he hit me up about almost 4 weeks ago now. And he was just like, "Hey, yeah, you want to hop on a call? I'm doing something cool with an I have a cool idea with an esports." I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. I like esports. I like playing games, and I have a decent background within a few different esports." So it was other up, and he came to me with this idea and this vision about creating an org, creating a team, and he wanted my expertise due to my background in esports to kind of see how could we start this, how could we do this, and I decided, yeah, no, this is 100% possible. And we had the backing, and now we had some knowledge of some inside teams, and we just kind of started from there, contacting streamers, already existing orgs, players, stacks, talking to a lot of people, looking at how we can expand, how we can start. We had a lot of discussions about it because we wanted to expand, but expand at a healthy rate. Because if we go too fast, it could crash early, and that negatively affects us, but that also negatively affects all of our players. And the scene in general, which is, I guess I said earlier, which is what we want to help contribute to. So we ended up signing a second, the previous the winner of the third div Norwegian league, the Good Game League, which is the national champs that are into second div now. We ended up signing those players there. We've also been talks with certain very large streamers, and we've also been discussing a few other esports opportunities as well as casters. We have now signed a caster that's at the absolute star caliber into the region scene, I would argue. A great up and comer. I think this is one really cool thing too, that we were able to just weeks after having an idea, being able to execute it the way we have. And now we're on the road, we're playing in second div, we have a solid infrastructure of both talents and players, and I think it's quite impressive that what we've been able to pull off this quickly.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's real crazy. And like honestly, like 95% of the things that has happened has been because of you. It's honestly like when I like thought about you, like it was like a very obvious choice to go to you. Like just immediately because like it just you were in the scene, you had experience, and like I've also seen you like outside like outside of yeah, with like fencing and stuff, and I know that you were like very motivated to work on stuff, but then I didn't expect that it will go so well. Like I was thinking, like in my head I was thinking like, okay, so we're gonna like create a vision, it will take a couple months, and then we're gonna scout some players, and then maybe like in the fall season we will have a team. But like getting you on board was like, it was like just signing a random academy player and it turning out to be Donk. It was just like the upside was
Yeah.
so unexpected. It was crazy.
Yeah, they
Like
do
when you
call
were
me the
just like
donk of esports management. Just the goat, really. More maybe the simple even. But hey, we'll have to see about longevity.
okay. Oh, let's go, let's go. Yeah, like no, it's just you were just like 1 week in there, like, hey, I have a roster, and then and I'm like, okay, so like what? And then you just say, like, hey, like we just work out the contract, and you like, and normally like when you have a contract, it's just like normally it's like you expect at least be some pushback, and then it was like, yeah, they all agree, and yeah, that was crazy, and no, I'm so excited to for this, and it feels so nice to be able to move really fast, because like in my last few years I've been focusing on trying to get startups with different co-founders, and one issue has always been that like it's really hard to find people that are willing to move as fast as you, um, and because like in any venture I feel like if you are sane and you don't, if you are trying to make perfect everything perfect, you are not able to do good. The perfect is the enemy of good, and and it's so important to just get the wins out early, because every day you don't get the win as an org, as a startup, as anything like that, you lose morale, you lose opportunity and stuff, and it's, yeah, honestly I'm so happy that we were able to sign a team, and everything has of course not been as we expected, um, like it's been also really hard to find our first sponsorships, because yeah, because of market conditions are quite rough right now, and with the high interest rates and yeah, the economy is like, yeah, people don't really care about sweaty guys playing video games
No,
24/7, right?
no, there are other focuses now. But I think we had a
Yeah.
really good startup process, and as a lot of people that have been doing orgs into esports, or I mean, even if you look at like big streamers such as like the Sky's Toast or the Moist Moguls, which is Ludwig and Moist Critical's esports team, getting the backup they need to do something is always really difficult. But I think that the most important thing is always to get started, to have a basis, and move from there. Because at that point, before you buy a spot, like this guy's Toasted bought a spot for $3 million US, I think, to play in the top division league instantly,
Oh.
with all of their
Okay. No, bro,
players.
don't ask that money from me, bro.
So, anyways, when are we getting that LEC spot? It's
Yeah.
$1 million, right? I think for the bottom tier. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So
Oh my
I
god.
think doing that again, if you want to compete at the top instantly, it's the only thing you have to do it, right? But that's another thing why I think is really great to compete in Counter Strike, where there is no franchising, where any team can qualify for any event at any time, and you don't need to pay to go to an event. If you qualify for most top events, they actually pay for you to play there, right? So I think it was a really logical place to start, and also Norway is such an underused region within CS. I mean, Sweden has been huge for ages. They dominate early scenes like times of CS, and they're kind of making comeback now. Denmark has always been fantastic. They still produce great talent. Norway has had Rain and well, Jacob, and technically Halzerk, but he's not really done anything impressive yet. Croman was a stand-in once. Don't know if anyone remembers Rubino. He was also stand-in for Astralis back in the day, but I think it's an untapped scene, so it makes a lot of sense for us to start there. But I think it's been going quite well here, and that's also one of the reasons we wanted to start this the check-in with us. So we could go here, talk a bit about the esports scene, us as an org, our mindsets moving forwards, both in the region esports scene and internationally. Like now, we covered our thoughts on people getting donked in Katowice, and I think it could be a good way to be able to communicate, to get our vision out there to anyone who is willing to listen.
Yeah, and I also think that like it's with esports there has been an issue of transparency between orgs and players, or like orgs and their fans, because it's honestly like it's the esports scene is kind of ugly, as every growing sports scene is, because it's always like there's a lot of money flowing around, there's a lot of changes, and like different esports compete for like viewership like crazy, and there are a lot of cuts, and there are a lot of like stakeholders that you wouldn't expect to be there. And the problem I felt with the esports scene is that when you are watching as a fan, everything looks perfect. Like it's just like everyone is coming out with their merch, like the stage production always looks good, and it's real, but it's really hard to find orgs that will tell you that okay, times are rough.
Yeah.
Like this is like we are not profitable, like we are struggling with these goals, and it's really hard to activate an audience to be willing to spend money to participate if you don't show them that like that money is actually useful, because I think one of the biggest reasons for that esports have been struggling, even though it has immense potential, is that it's just like the money, like there's very few ways to actually make money, like reliably, because you have like for example you don't have like revenue for like watching, for like gate revenue for watching games. you don't have like concessionary revenue. Like we're not gonna pay. We're not gonna like FedEx you a hot dog and a soda
Hey man,
during
that's
the
a good
game.
idea. Wait, let me take some notes.
Yeah, and it's yeah, and like a lot of the scene just doesn't know uh like how to make money. Like there's a lot of orgs where I feel like you just have like really talented players, but you don't have value engines supporting them. Where like if for example you have like half of the Norwegians first and second and third Counter-Strike division, like they don't have a website, they barely have a Twitter, and and it's just we want to be an org that like really tries to tell as much as possible.
Yeah.
Where we want to tell you when it's going well, we want to tell you when it's not going well, and we want to help each other learn about esports, because like for something that so many people watching, like so few people actually get to see what happens
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the day to day, and yeah. So yeah, that's
We
why we're
want to
trying to do.
expose the dirty insides of the esports, the things they don't tell you.
Whoa, clickbait! Let's
Oh
go.
shit!
It's like Dog was an industry plan.
Oh, you think Donked is real? Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Like I don't know if you've seen like the one interview from like Cat Williams a couple of weeks ago, where he just like Kevin Hart is fake.
Oh
This
yeah, yeah,
person
yeah.
is
When it was
fake.
fake,
This
yeah.
person is fake.
No,
Yeah, this
no,
is gonna
no
be
one's
me.
real when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very good, very true. What you're saying there, because insider issues, and as you said, the being open, both with your audience, but also even inside the org, this has been a huge problem. You have huge orgs like Fnatic that are historic British org, right? And then they signed a player like about a year and a half ago, and then he showed up for practice one day, and so they were like, "Wait, why are you here?" And he was like, "What do you mean? No, you were kicked," but he wasn't even told. He learned from social media after he was asked to leave a practice that he was kicked from the org, which is like that
Oh.
was Fnatic, which is completely insane that this kind of thing happens, right?
Mm.
And I think a lot of problems are orgs like FaZe Clan, although I love FaZe, like the CS team, the COD team, always been a huge fan for years. But when it comes to the org internally, and they have 100 different investors that all own two large parts of them, and they're all just running around flaunting huge amounts of money and nice cars, but then they can't actually invest in players or the kind of background and staff that their teams need, and then they try to go public on the stock market, and then they instantly go bankrupt and lose 99% of the value during a month. That's the side of esports that I think is destroying the esport and not actually helping it. I think if FaceCon went like if they did what Optic did, went public at a way lower like evaluation, and it still went public, and the players take 15% of everything they make, which is I believe I don't know if that's what they kept doing, but that was their initial thing. Anyways, that makes a lot more sense because that's great sustainability again. I don't. I think more and more orgs going in that kind of flexing, flaunting type direction is only negative, and now we can see a lot of the Asian orgs are starting to get the same kind of thing, try to go public, trying to give older players like super nice cars and driving around, being active in that kind of way, and I don't think that promotes positive like e-athlete values.
Mm. Yeah, well, like it's yeah. Also, yeah. Part of the reason that why FaZe Clan failed was just because it's yeah, like it when you come to like they were like just they were like managing an esport org like it was a private equity business.
Yeah.
So what usually happens when you have a private equity when a private equity buys a business, they just try to dismember it and sell it for parts. And they often make a big profit. Like it happens with like hospitals to like just mom and pop stores, like everything and everything in between. But the problem with esports org is that a lot of the value is brand value, and it's and when you try to sell for parts, that value it's not a solid thing. You can't just go in and hand in the face logo to the bank and get like $10 million, right? It would be so nice if it were true, because like then we would just paying for a bot farm.
Yeah.
Just get
No,
like
no,
10 billion views on Cashout Cavaliers.
sadly just
But
isn't.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was not the
no,
case.
yeah, no, that would that'd be quite good.
Yeah, and then the problem is that then you just end up with, when you like start dismembering an org, you just end up with like worthless pieces, because like you need a lot of synergy in order to not only activate the brand but to like actually transfer value. Because like if you go and it's also the problem with FaZe. I feel like it's just they also just happen to be like at the end of the like spec hype train.
Yeah.
Where people started to realize that special purpose acquisition companies were not good for the economy, and they were very risky. So that's why like the value just dropped a
Yeah, it
lot.
takes off.
But like I think esports org can go public, but they need to be mature first. And
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
and if possible, like you would want an esport org that's owned by the fans, or at least a portion of it owned by the fans.
I believe that's definitely Astralis' original vision, was an esports org owned by the players. All the SK Gaming as well, where all the players had like basically had like the equities of the company, and they were all on the board, so they had all a lot to say. And then I believe instead of, because not so many players don't necessarily want to say, but they always have like a representative that's clearly there and same things. And I think that's a really good thing, because most orgs today are not owned by anyone that has ever played pro esports. I can't actually think of a single org that's owned by. I mean, I guess 100 Thieves,
Yeah.
Nade Shot, pro COD player.
Well, you know the funniest. Sorry, but
No, go ahead.
the funniest esport name I've ever found. Like I found it like 2 days ago on Twitter.
Okay.
50 shoplifters.
Ah, okay, that's fire. No, okay. 100 Thieves, 50 shoplifters. No, that's really good. Shit. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, continue.
No, that's good. That's a good tangent. But outside of that, then all of the top orgs are mostly owned by huge companies. Some are owned by sports teams, like the Dallas Cowboys or Jason Lake, the owner of Dallas Cowboys, also owns Complexity Gaming. There are a few things like that, but outside of that, it's all owned by just like massive private companies that have no clue how to run usually a sporting facility or anything like that. They know how to run a business, and they say, wow, esports has money, so we're gonna run it like a business. But then the players get fucked, and the staff gets fucked, and everybody gets fucked, and they leave. Which is why, like, CS, is the NA even good at anything anymore except for COD? Because they franchise COD. They're only 2 European teams that are even allowed to compete. So I guess that's not fair, but
I mean,
because they're out of league basically, and Counter-Strike they're in shambles. Valorant's in shambles. I mean,
League of Legends is just a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually crazy, because it's the funniest thing about the league scene is that instead of trying to find new talent, what American orgs are trying to do is to find Koreans that have lived enough in America to be able to get residency, so they're not counted as imports.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when you have orgs that just like add on a new import every like 2 or 3 years, until like, for example, you have like Team Liquid that's just like consistently just try stacking imports until they only they get like a perfect like 5-man roster, and it's like, and like suddenly like when you go to like voice check, you hear like the comms in Korea, and then you're like, oh okay, they have achieved Korea.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
That's
like,
pretty good.
but it's yeah, like North America has been a very weird case because like it's been where like there's not, it's been uh at the same place, the place where there's been like the least talent
Yeah,
but the most money as well.
yeah. Well, it's the birthplace
Uh,
of esports.
hmm, yeah, or like I would say South Korea is with StarCraft.
Yeah, yeah, no, so yeah,
Uh,
to be fair. But
yeah,
then
but
the
like
US also had like all those like fighting games tournaments in like the early 90s.
yeah, that's true, that's true.
So no, but I
Yeah,
think I
but
think you're right. When it comes to like, well, when it comes to like a scene that still exists, I think StarCraft in Korea is pretty up there. But then you also have fucking in Sweden, they've competed in CS, in Brazil, and in the US since 2002. So I guess that's also. But you know, I think the US is really where esports became a professional instead of just video
mm,
games tournaments, right? I think the US is where they made the transition from video game tournaments to esports, if that makes sense. Like it made it
yeah,
professional, if that's
yeah,
if
yeah,
that's fair to say.
yeah. And also a big advantage is that most of the games developed are from American-owned companies.
Yeah, and
So
they're also
it's
in English primarily,
mm,
which of course helps. I mean, the language barriers aren't as important now. I think in Asia and like Russia, the CAS region, the ice. But outside of that, most people do speak English now. But that wasn't as prevalent at like 20 years ago, right?
mm, yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, like yeah, like if we move on to the different topic,
Yeah.
what uh what are the plans for this split or this season
Yeah, so
for us?
this season, the Cashout Cavaliers. Esport Manager will give you a little throwback to last Tuesday when we went up against with the favorite for the team, favorite team in the group. Probably they were probably ranked as a top 6 team in the country actually, although their second division. It's because they used to be the junior team that has now moved up, taken the main roster spot. Which is the reason I believe they're not in the first div. They were the favorites. Everyone put them as the favorites to win the group, and we did go down 2-1 after winning Overpass our first our map pick in a fantastic fashion. Loads of cool kills there, loads of good frags. Lux pulled out an ace with the op on that CT side. It was a lot of fun to watch. They hit back hard on the second map. We got knocked
Oh, that
over
was so
there.
fun to watch.
Yeah,
That was
no,
one.
it wasn't great on that that next side. But then in the third map, Ancient got super close. We started a comeback. It was 10-10. And then a single choke point goes wrong, and we lose the round. We go into timeout, and we lose another. And now we have a chance again at the 12-10 mark, and there's just a bit too much, I think, over aggression on the side there. And we end up losing the maps 13-10. But I gotta admit, 2-1 loss, but with such a close third map against arguably the best team in the league. One of the best teams in the country, especially because we have been ranked by everyone that has anyone that has an opinion, both professionals, random kids on the internet, have all ranked us as the worst team in the division. Most people don't even think we should be in second div. They'd rather rate other teams like Sami Gaming that also came up this season above us. But you know, I think we showed in this opening match that we pack a punch, or we're serious about playing. We can compete with the best. We can really compete with the best. I think it's a bit unlucky to have that as our first match, but I think having such a strong showing against arguably the best team is also kind of best case for us, because now people are taking us seriously and they see what kind of punch we can pack. And I hope everyone that's watching will have a drop by, because our next match will be is on Tuesday. It's a normal time. It's I believe 7 o'clock European Standard Time. We have an X match there against one of the, I'd say, probably mid-tier teams in the league. I think we're better than them. But we'll see what we get. And I think if we keep on like we are, we will absolutely disrupt the league, and people will be surprised. And I think that if we don't place top 3, I will genuinely be surprised this season. And we play every Tuesday. At 7 usually. If there are updates, you gotta go follow our Twitter and stuff, or ARX. That's where we keep constant updates. If there are map changes, match changes, anything you need to know. And we'll be playing every Tuesday as planned for the Norwegian champs, the Game Liga, and then we'll also be playing Tippeligaen at the end of that season, which is the secondary league here in Norway that all the top teams play within their divisions or within their sets. Hopefully, we get a top set there. That's the plans, anyways. We promise to deliver top tier Counter Strike continued over the season. And that's our plans within esports now. And of course, you gotta always stay ready for some new potential announcements and stuff like that. We also want to give out a shout out to our friend and now signed caster Silky, who is doing a fantastic job. Is going to be casting all of our games throughout the season. You should check him out and also see him on our channels. He's doing a fantastic job there. I think that's a pretty good recap of what's coming up. That's official, anyways, for the season. I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Get in, play some Counter Strike.
Yeah, I'm real hyped as well. It's honestly like I was so scared when the first match come because guys, I'm gonna be honest. Like I haven't watched the team at all until the first game, or the casters. Like stuff happened so fast that like we had so much like different stuff to set up that like I didn't have time to like properly evaluate, and also I really trusted Alexander as the right person to find those teams, the team and the talent. But it was, I'm not gonna lie, like I was still like, I remember like in the warm up of the first game, first map, I was like, am I just about to throw 60,000 kroners into the drain? into Because that's like our budget so far for the season. I was like, is this just like one nightmare that's just gonna end up for being for like a season? We're just gonna demote the third division and we'll just sell the spot for like 5 kroners. But luckily no. Luckily like it's been really good, and yeah, I'm really excited for the potential of the team. And also, yeah, I thought honestly we might talk about a little bit of how we're gonna try to make money in the esports scene, because I think it's an important discussion to have as an org, and I haven't seen a lot of esports org approach it like completely honestly. But yeah, so right now it's what we want to do is we want to work on getting social media content out and increasing the value of the brand and the players. And it's and our goal is to get to first division this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And first division is important for a bunch of factors because it's the division where you can actually earn money from playing. In our contracts, it's we will not be touching any prize money that's like below 100,000 kroners.
Yeah.
Because we simply don't believe that. We believe that it's not fun to it's not fun. It's not useful for us to try and just like take scraps of our players when they're also.
No, I think that just worsens the relationship between player and org, and it's a bit useless. We heard from an insider source that used to be affiliated with 100 Thieves that they have a standardized contract where they take 20% off everything, and he won like I think a $50 tournament. And he didn't even think about reporting. It was some like casual event, and on like a third-party client. It wasn't like even an official. And the other team still demanded $10, which I think. I mean, a contract is a contract, to be fair, but I think that's just a bit ridiculous. Like, you can't even get a meal for $10 in this economy. So like, yeah, we're not trying to try to pull that. We're 100% here to develop players and develop talents, not make $10 out of 50.
Yeah, it's like if I take a plane to England where you study, like you're just sitting in the cantina and I just come and I just like take a hand out of the pasta and just like, hey, there's my cut, thanks.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, thanks, bro. You head off. Yeah, I think that's a bit ridiculous. Yeah, and again, we've always discussed this, and we think content creation is definitely the most important thing when you want to build your name, build your reputation. That's how, excluding orgs that have like massive backing, and excluding orgs that are already built up by famous people. All the orgs were built by the start by like random people like us, like the Face Clans, like the Optics. They all became famous because of their content, because of the clips. You have like Face Temper inventing, the Temper shot and Call of Duty. That was epic. They did Optic Gaming playing semi-pro tournaments, but only no scoping. Like, didn't really win a lot at the very very start, but they got really famous from it. They got more market value. Then they could actually get a pro lineup in and actually play pro tournaments, right? Especially in today's age with all the short form content. And yeah, do watch out for short form content. We will have a TikTok up and running. Will be this week. So everything goes after plan, and we get all our edits and stuff from our editors. All of that again will be announced on our Twitter. And all of the short form content, I think that's super important today. The biggest streamer of all, Jinxie, got all of his viewers almost purely from short form content. People saw his content on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. They thought it was funny, and they never subscribed. I think that's absolutely the best way to get your market out there. But then you also got to make sure the product you're pushing is a serious one. And we have a really, really good vision for esports for the future, which is one of the reasons why we invested where we did, and in teams we did, and the game we did. So I think we have a good vision and a good idea of how to be able to create a sustainable economy for our organization.
Yeah, and I also want to put focus on like we're gonna be adapting to the conditions, and there's honestly like there's a lot of stuff that's new to both of us, and yeah, like I think like one of our biggest strengths is that we know it enough about esports to like be able to like see what works and what doesn't, but we also are fresh enough so that we can think outside the box, and we are not conditioned by the traditions of the esports.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it is going to be very interesting, and our goal is to be profitable with 100K budget next season. So this season is just to try and test things out, see what works, see what doesn't.
Yeah, just get ourselves out there.
Because like the thing is, like, I've wanted to start this for like a number of years, and I could have started at any moment, to be honest. But it just at some point you just have to like start, even if you're terrified. And yeah, who knows? Maybe like in 3 months you'll see us crying on the podcast, being like, "This is a mistake."
Yeah, and at that point we will become professional podcasters, like all other white people.
Yeah.
Just two white dudes talking about world problems. Because that's I think that's fantastic content too. So
yeah. We're just gonna be pumping out like hit pieces on Donk. Just be like, oh yeah, now he's overrated.
Donk is actually he has one bad game. He's actually trash, dude. Like overrated. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a frag merchant.
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
I pretty much think we've covered what we wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think the last thing is also, I think we want to, we want to grow sustainably. So we're not gonna make acquisitions that we can't like create value out of.
Yeah.
Like, I was joking about like acquiring Dog, but if, for example, like,
I mean,
he would be open to sign, and like then we would need to find additional funding to like make it work and to create the value chain. Although like if he wants to sign for free, like that's hit me up.
yeah, Donk. When you do see this, Donk, when you do see this,
oh yeah, he's probably just like he's like furiously like refreshing our Twitter, like
yeah. We know he is, So,
oh yeah, but yeah, no, it's so exciting to see where this will go, and
absolutely. Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean, last thing. So
mhm.
the Super Bowl predictions. Who gets it? Do you think the Kansas Chiefs take it or San Francisco 49ers? Starts in 2.5 hours. Who do you think takes it?
I think honestly, like I think the San Francisco's will win.
Yeah, 49ers, yeah. I mean, statistically speaking,
49ers.
they should win. Like, Chiefs should never win this, but they should never have been here in the first place either.
But yeah, but the problem is like if they lose, the Swifties might start a civil war.
Yeah, right. So that's what I've been thinking. So I mean, the Cinderella story would be perfect if there's Taylor Swift plays in from Japan or wherever she comes from, and Travis Kelce and the boys win, and it's just one of the craziest upset wins of like ever in the Super Bowl history. No,
Yeah,
I think 49ers should take it, but I actually have my money on the Kansas City Chiefs.
yeah, no, like, oof. Yeah, I don't really watch football, so I have
No,
like
neither do
no
I.
idea.
Nope, I have no clue what I'm talking about. But hey, everybody cares about the Super Bowl. They have hundreds of millions of viewers. So
Yeah, I just picked the team. I was like, okay, which team will I pick?
let's
The
go Chiefs,
non-Taylor Swift
baby.
one. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Now we're just gonna be canceled as Taylor Swift haters. Even
Yeah,
though
no,
it's just
this is a
like-
Taylor Swift friendly place. You can breathe.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
space for Swifties. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, well, the only thing we love more than the money is Swifties. Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
true. Money's number 1, 2, and 3, but number 4, Swifties.
Yeah, number 5 is esports.
Yeah,
Like,
esports number 5. Yeah, well, at best.
Let's go. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching the first edition of the Cheque In. Hope you guys enjoyed. Keep up with all our socials, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Peace.
Yeah. See you at next game.